Hello and welcome to Season of War. Alex and I are back at you today with another Age of Sigmar battle report. This time a fantastic death-on-death matchup with the OCR Bonereapers going up against the Flesh Eater Courts.
As voted by the premium team.
Yes.
I was bringing my Flesh Eater Courts and they voted me a hard matchup.
Yeah, so our premium members got to vote for this matchup, like you said, and chose for me to play OBR. Talking about our premium members, we actually just hit our first membership goal for our premium subscribers on YouTube, and what that's going to unlock is 2 new battlefields and terrain sets that we're going to be working on now to just bring some more variety and beautiful terrain to the table. If you saw our behind the scenes video that went out recently, you might have gotten a little teaser of some of the terrain pieces that we're going to be working on for the first board, which is going to be a Gyran Elven themed board. And then the second board will actually get to be voted on by our premium team. So I'm really excited to see what they vote for and what we'll be working on and bringing to the table. And with hitting this goal, our next goal is actually going to be helping us upgrade our audio equipment. So again, you would have seen in the behind the scenes that we have just an overhead mic that we're recording audio with, which, while serviceable, isn't the best. And we want to continue to bring you more and better content and continue to up the quality. So with your guys' help, we'll be able to invest in higher quality mics. Unfortunately, our first set of lav mics that I bought off Amazon real cheap survived about 4 or 5 games before one of them started conking out. So looking to get something a little more robust, but obviously all the equipment is a big investment. So that's why obviously with your help, we'll be able to do this at that next goal. But looking at the battlefield, Flesh Eater Courts, do you want to take me through your list?
All right. I am rocking 2 battalions today. The Death Watch Battalion, which is the 3 flayers, and the Courtier. That lets the flayers pile in and attack in the hero phase. So they could potentially, using the command points with the pile in and attack twice in the combat phase, they can attack a whole bunch. Then I've got the 2nd Battalion, which is the Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon, the Ghoul King on foot, and the Arch Regent. Battle line is my 3 flayers because I'm in Blister Skin, so everything is +2 move. I've got the teleport for a command point. I get another command point on a 4-up in my hero phase. So I'm fast, but I'm low bodies.
For me with OBR, I'm playing Mortis Praetorians today. So obviously bringing Catacross, big centerpiece of this army. He's gonna give me the +1 save, +1 hit, even +1 attack, obviously with different abilities. So gonna make me really tanky in this build. I have 2 blocks of 20 Mortec, and then a unit of 5 Death Riders as my 3 battle line. 2 Mortec Crawlers, as I mentioned before, and then Arcan. So only 2 heroes, but 2 big heroes, and they will both be bringing back 3 models from a unit or 3 wounds each turn. So that's Arcan, I think, pitched 4 units, and Catacross, I think, pitched 3. So I'll be able to regenerate both bodies and wounds off of anything that's wounded. So a lot of resiliency, though I'm obviously not the fastest army here, and is actually going to be a little bit of trouble on this mission. So do you want to take us through the mission in Realm?
Yes. So we're playing Total Commitment, so no deep striking allowed, which didn't affect either of us because mine is a summon, not a deep strike. And you just don't have any deep striking.
No.
There's 2 objectives in your zone, which are worth 1 point. There's 2 objectives in the enemy zone, which are worth 3 points if you can get there. I'm hoping my fast teleporting guys will get there a lot easier than Jordan's slow walking guys. And then we're playing in the realm of Hish today. So everything is mystical, gives you the 6-up, feel no pain.
Neither of us really need it too much, unless you're away from your heroes.
Yeah, so it'll let me get it on my flayers without a hero nearby. Your Mortec leader guy gives it to you anyway, so not as big for you. And then the command ability would be useful for you, but
with
you
the RGP, I can't
even use it. So that's the minus, or ignore cover save. So could be useful on the catapults if you could use it. Not as useful for me because I really don't have a lot of shooting.
And you're not worried about, there's no cover or no terrain that I'm worried about, being in cover.
Yeah.
So
The only things you could get cover on are either on my side
or a little away from the objective.
Yeah. So not terribly useful. So then the other one for the spell for Hish is just the extra Mystic Shield on a 5-up.
But otherwise, we did pick 2 auxiliary objectives today. So
Absolutely.
which 2 did you choose?
So my 2 are related. I picked, seeing as you only have 2 heroes here, I picked Assassinate
Ooh.
and Headhunter.
Okay.
So I've got to kill both heroes, and you've got to pick one for Assassinate.
Okay, well, I'll pick Catacross.
Okay. So Catacross gets me Assassinate, Catacross and Arcan gets me Headhunter.
Okay, that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
For myself, I picked as my first one Defender, which means I just have to make sure you don't have any units wholly within my territory at the end of the game.
Yep.
Again, my army's great at attrition, so I feel like I can outlast you, and I'm not going to move much further than my territory, in this game with kind of how big the board is and how far away the objectives are. So hopefully I can just keep you out of my zone. And then my second auxiliary, in line with yours, is Grudge. So Catacross is going to declare Grudge against your Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon.
Okay.
So Catacross, if he slays him in combat, I'll get the auxiliary there. So that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Which in one aspect, because we choose these after deployment, seeing the positioning, I chose that also because it's going to force you to either go in, you already want to go in because of your auxiliaries, but now there's a bit of a trade-off, right, where you're giving me mine, and if you wanted to avoid to try and deny me that point, that works in my benefit too. So
For sure.
One way or another, you're either hiding from Catacross or you're potentially coming in and
delivering myself to him.
Yes, exactly. But again, it's going to be a tough fought battle both ways. We both have obviously some healing mechanics and ways to bring back models, but I think obviously I have the body advantage and I think a little more resiliency in terms of a lot more resiliency with the 3-up, potentially rerolling saves and healing 6 wounds from 3+ units a turn. So it'll be an interesting one.
All right.
But you outdropped me here with your 2 battalions, so you are going to have choice of how this game starts.
Yeah. In our last game, I gave away the turn, and that worked out pretty well for me. So this time I'm going to do the opposite and see how that goes.
All right, sounds good. So we'll be going into top of round 1 with Flesh Eater Torts going first.
All right. All right. So to start off my hero phase, didn't start so hot, but my turn ended pretty well, so I'm pretty happy. Started with 3 command points, 2 from the 2 battalions, 1 from buying one. Jordan stole my 4th command point, and then my Archregent failed to roll for the 5th one.
Yeah.
So I only had the 3, but it was enough. Yeah, so I buffed up the Ghoul King. He got the run and charge, which was huge one, and he got +1 attack. Then I started shuffling some things around, moved the flayers over here from in the house to this house, trying to stay as hidden as possible. These flayers stayed there because they needed
Capturing the objective.
take that one. Those ones are hidden and capturing that objective. At the end of movement, I just brought the Vargulf on so we could heal something if needed. And then the big one is the Zombie Dragon made his 4-inch charge into Catacross. I gave him the re-rolling hits of 1 from the all-out attack. I popped his artifact, which allows him to re-roll all wounds for him and the monster.
Mm-hmm.
So between that, I did, and 2 spent a command point to pile and attack twice. So I did 28 wounds to Catacross.
27.
27 wounds.
Your first activation, you did 10.
Yeah.
So if you had have done the same your second one, I would have. That's before his 6-up Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
So, but 27, I didn't make enough 6-ups to live. So
made like 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So a hard lesson for me. I've always felt like Catacross is nearly invincible, right? And well, he is. You take him first, let you go in before his buff was up, and it was a little unexpected for me. So that was a great play, and like getting in there before he has the +1 save, that would have been a huge difference.
Basically board wide
because there were
+1 save.
3 bites alone on your second activation. I rolled 3 5s for my saves with +1 to save. I would have made all 3 of those.
Yep.
That was, I think, that was 11 damage on those 3 attacks alone. That +1 to save is literally the difference.
For sure. Where
knowing that you have the speed, I did need to actually play more defensive with him. I thought you would get in, maybe take him low, maybe take him to under 5 to 8 wounds left, but I didn't expect you to kill him. So that really hurts. Obviously, that's a quarter of my army just gone for no gain. All he did was steal a command point this game, which 500 points isn't the same value as a command point.
No. Yeah, I run the math on that fight on like Stats Hammer, and with +2 attacks, I kill him like 95% of the time. With +1 attack, it was only like 75% of the time. But yeah, worked out in my favor.
Yeah, a little riskier, but yeah, that's a good note, talking about tools like that. My buddy Ryan also created a great tool over at Relic Wargaming, which I use all the time to kind of estimate damage. And knowing that kind of information before matchups, the more you know about an opponent, the better it is, right? So with my Ideneth Deepkin, I know exactly what all my units are going to do in different situations, and it's so key here. You could confidently make that decision, knowing that you're going to, again, even 75% of the time, you're going to kill him, which is wild. And actually a huge surprise to me, let alone the 95%. I didn't know that was even in the realm of possibility. So that's why I had no worries about putting him front line. Just didn't think there was any chance you'd kill him. But obviously, you shouldn't underestimate the killiness of Flesh Eater Courts, as I've learned again today.
I think I'm pretty well traded that Ghoul King, because I'm pretty sure he's not going to survive the turn, but we'll see what you can do.
Yeah, and with that, we'll be going into bottom of round 1 with OBR turn coming up. right, so finishing up my turn 1, obviously on the back foot from the start, losing Catacross turn 1. Not looking great. Just obviously, though, trying to do everything I can, putting myself in the best position. Needed to take out the dual chain was obviously the big thing, kind of the most pressing thing, and actually was able to take advantage of your positioning a little bit, but shooting both my catapults at him. So I got 10 damage through total on my 2 catapults, and you made 4 of your 10 6-ups.
Yeah.
So only got 6 damage through shooting. Put me in a little bit of a tenuous spot, but averages were still slightly in my favor. Throwing in the Mortec with the empowered netherite weapons for exploding 5s and 6s. So threw them in there. I got enough damage and wounds through past your armor saves, but then you made like another 5 or 6 ups out of, I think, like 12 or 15 attacks.
Yeah.
Which leaves you with like 3 or 4 wounds remaining.
2
wounds remaining.
Yeah.
Doesn't put me in the best spot with him surviving, because it meant he actually got to attack back, killing 7 Mortec. Not the end of the world. But I really didn't need the turn before, as long as they take him out, but now it's a little bit more scary because I can't afford to lose that unit. Now, the thing that I was able to do, though, because of the positioning of the flayers, is I have them tagged just on the edge of 3 inches with my Mortec guard, meaning that, 1, they're in combat, so now they can't charge elsewhere. You'll have to retreat out, plus the positioning means your piling would only land you on the building, so no matter what, you're not getting attacks into the Mortec.
Yep.
So able to take advantage of kind of the positioning there, which helps me kind of mitigate the amount of damage and punishment you're going to be, throwing my way for a little bit at least. Now, my Mortec, again, you will have a command point on your turn, so you can easily pile and attack twice, probably wipe out that unit with your king surviving. So, puts me in a bad spot, whereas realistically I wanted to have him dead, tying up your flayers, and then you can take the turn and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm still going to be bringing guys back. I wouldn't have lost any had I killed him. So, let's jump into priority. Obviously here, wanting it a little bit more now. And I roll a 2.
3.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Sounds good. So we'll be going to the top of round 2 with Fleshy Hearts going first.
All right. All right. So the end of my turn, we just have the battle shock phase left. Jordan's immune to it. I killed. I did 10 damage. You saved 1, so I killed 9 Mortec, and I have the chalice up this time. So I'll get to bring back. Well, heal some wounds, I guess. On a 4 up.
So 3, so slightly below average.
Yeah, but hopefully
gives you 5 wounds remaining.
Yeah.
As opposed to just 2.
Yeah, Jordan did 1 wound to me with his 4 Mortec.
Yeah. Big thing on your turn was you only had 1 command point, so you had to choose between piling in and attacking twice.
Yeah,
or teleporting those guys
out of combat. Yeah. So I couldn't spend the command point to teleport them to attack something. So I just retreated them outside the range of the Death Riders.
Being a little more defensible with them.
These players moved up so they can try and get onto your objective. I saved the 2 summons from the Ghoul King and the Archregent still.
Because it just makes me still play more defensive, right?
Yeah, you can't move off your objectives, or I drop some sneaky ghouls on to just steal them. But I only scored the 2 points, so we are still tied.
Yep. So, well, you're up 2 because you had more turns.
Yeah, but you'll score your 2.
Yes. Yeah,
sure.
So it's only 4-2 right now, so close game on the scoreboard. And just surviving with my Mortec is big here. I have 4. I'm only bringing 3 back, which isn't significant, but a couple turns of that, I'll slowly be able to replenish that unit.
Yeah. And it keeps the Ghoul King tied up.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll be dead, so I'm not worried about tying him up. This is my second stab at it this turn. And with that, we will be going into bottom of round 2. And OCR's Bonereapers' turn. Alright, so finishing up OBR turn 2. Really, like you said, you kept your summons back, so I have to be conscious of the fact that you can still just bounce onto my objectives or get into my catapults and tie them up. They really should be still dishing out lots of damage each turn, and hopefully wearing you down. Not the case this round, though. Again, I consolidated over to this objective, got lots of bodies on it, so it's harder for you to take it. You're going to have to deep strike, make a charge, or make a charge in, and I'm a little more defensible should you get priority here. Thinking that with 6 shots, my catapults should easily get 1 through, and as long as you don't save 4 out of the 5 damage, he would be dead. Fortunately, I got 0 hits through.
I made 2 saves, and then the other one just whipped.
Completely had no attacks through. So obviously, just when it rains, it pours. So I'll score my 2 points, though, keeping it a tie game on the scoreboard.
Yep.
Going into priority here again. Really, I was just hoping to give it away, set up to give it away again. And then, unfortunately, just the fact that he survived means I now have to take it if I win it.
Mm-hmm.
A 4.
6.
I do not. So we'll go into Flesh Eater Courts turn 3.
So I buffed up these flares, even though I knew they weren't really going to get in, but assuming that you got into me on your turn.
They're at least defensive against my catapults in combat.
Yeah. I sent the Ghoul King over. He shot off one Mortec with the breath. It's a D6, and of course rolled the 1. But then he went into combat and deleted the other 2 Mortec and the 5
Death Riders
Cavalos
as well.
Yes. Took a command point to do the
double pile-in.
Yeah, double activation. My Ghoul King went to the throne and summoned these 10 ghouls over here to hold this objective against any Arcane shenanigans if he teleported. But I'll score your objective this turn for 3 and my 2, so I'll get 5, putting me up 5 points.
Yep.
Going into your turn.
So effectively, like talking about priority at the end of the last round, my play pretty much from turn 1 was to sit on my objectives and go for the tie.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can really do to threaten your objectives on this mission. And especially losing Catacross, that's the linchpin of the army.
Yeah, it takes you from 10 RDP a turn to 2.
Yeah, so here I lost my objective. You're going to be up in points. There's really nothing I'm going to be able to do to take that objective back. Again, if I had been getting damage out of my catapults each turn, it would have been a totally different story where we are now, even with the state of the game. But the fact your Ghoul King only has 4 wounds on him at this point. If he had died turn 1, as he should have, I would have been chewing into your flares with my catapults last round, had a lot more units over here, and felt a lot better about playing defensive. Potentially even in a position where I could whittle you down for a couple turns, and then maybe turn 4, turn 5, late game, make a push to your objective.
Yep.
Obviously, though, I wasn't getting the output out of the catapults that I needed. Harder when they're not +1 attached, so that's 25% of their output right there. And then it's just the unreliability of low attacks against an average armor save even of 4 ups. It's like
50-50 chance of saving every one.
Really shows the weaknesses of the catapults without any rend, even against a lower armor save army. It's just so swingy. And while they are great in a lot of matchups, they can be frustrating. But with that, we will go into OBR turn 3 and see what I can do here. All right, finishing up turn 3 with OBR. Again, backed into a corner even more here, but I know I have to play for the double for any chance in this game right now. So I needed to do a couple things. One was take this objective back. You only had 4 bodies, meaning if I could kill the flares, I moved my catapult on, I'd be able to take that back, which pretty much just from Arcane, he was able to do, doing Mortal Wound, Machine Gun, with the Arcane Bolt, 3 Arcane Bolts, and then getting in combat. My catapults both shot at them, but did 3 wounds, 4 wounds?
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 3, because you didn't kill one, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty underwhelming, again, output from the catapults. Over here, I had my 20 Mortet, which is a big block and a strong unit. And I can't just keep leaving them on that objective. Now, we're mid-game here. If you win priority, you can just land on this objective with a teleport. But at this point, I need priority for a chance in this game, so that was an easy decision in terms of risking that. Slowly trying to move my catapult over here, but move my Mortec up. Really the plan here is Again, I had to kill the flares to take my objective back, so I will score my 2 points, putting me down 3, which means I need to take one of your objectives at some point into the game. Again, playing for that round 4, round 5, really it's going to be round 5, if anything, at this point, because I have to deal with this stuff over here one way or another and try and get back to one of your objectives. Not impossible, but definitely difficult. So again, I ran my Mortec up, put me in a great spot to run and charge next round. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to be able to kill a lot of your stuff, but I desperately still waiting for a turn of really good output out of the catapults, and that could change things. Now, two really good turns of output would have been ideal, but even one will give me a chance.
Oh yeah, because potentially that's 30 damage out of the 2 of them.
Yeah, even getting 20 through, that's 5 flares gone.
Yeah.
So my expectations are pretty low right now based on how the catapults are performing. But again, take this objective, set myself up in a great position, all things considered, for the priority here. Because if I win it, can deal with this stuff, maybe do a cheeky teleport, I have a decent chance at trying to take an objective from you, round 5.
Yep.
Not highly likely, but it's still a chance, and I'm going to do everything I can, to fight in this game. But it all starts with the priority roll. I'm looking to lose this one because last time, 2 times I said I was looking to win it. I roll a 5.
5.
You win ties.
I'll take it for the exact reasons that you just said you needed it.
With that, we'll go into top of round 4 with Flesh Eater Torts going first.
Alright, so Flesh Eaters turn 4, top of round 4. Pulled the flares back because I didn't need them going in, and I didn't need the Mortec charging into them and killing them off. Not very good being charged. I tried to get the Archregent to the throne to summon the 20 ghouls, but he didn't make it with his rod and roll, and I didn't want to spend a command point because I needed those.
And I thought you should have spent the command point, but in the end, you did plus or rerolling once to hit for all out attack, and then the piling attack twice. I didn't think you would need the reroll once to hit, but in the end, you only killed Arcan with 1 extra wound to spare.
Yeah.
So smart decision in the end that you did legitimately need that to finish him off in that case. Funny though that you barely kill Arcan, yet you had so easily killed Catacross.
Well, I popped his artifact turn 1
That's
to reroll
true for the
all
reroll
wounds.
wounds. Yeah. That's
I tried to get that spell off,
but I've been unbinding you.
Yeah. Whereas turn 1 I was out of range.
Yeah.
But I failed the spell cast. So I'll take this one. I'll get another 5 points.
I hold it still.
Oh right, because we're
tied, and I remain in control.
So then I'll just score the 2, but I'll stay up 3 points.
Yeah, so I was actually expecting you to leave the flares there because you would have controlled that objective no matter what, just having them on it. Would have let you also kill the catapult if you threw both those units in. So that's what I was expecting you to do. This is a little bit more of a defensive play, but I really now have nothing to threaten you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty much we're just going into bottom of round 4. It's going to be my turn, and at this point I'm just going to be going for secondaries. and obviously doing the most I can, which isn't very much. Now that Arcane's gone, I have no threat to your objectives. There's no way I, even remotely close, running and using RDP, even for like trying to set it up for round 5. So we'll be going into Bonereapers turn 4 at the bottom of the round. And again, just going for auxiliaries and pride at this point. And we'll see what I can do. Alright, so finishing up my turn 4. Again, realistically, just going for auxiliary objectives at this point. And while in a game I wouldn't bring up again what my auxiliary is to remind my opponent, in this case it's just to have defender is the only one I can play for, which is having no enemies in my zone. Again, I wouldn't necessarily mention that because it would remind you to maybe throw like flares or something in my territory on your turn, making it impossible. So I'd just be going for the kill here. Again, a consistent 3 damage from my 2 catapults.
Yeah.
I had 4 hits go through, so it was looking good with potentially up to 20 damage maximum. But you made 3 out of your 4 ups.
Yeah, and then 2 death saves.
And then 2 death saves on 5 dice. So again, just making it real hard for me. My Mortek, again, only put 4 damage on you also.
Yeah.
And with all the healing he's done, he's only got 8 wounds on him at this point. So the Ghoul King still has 6 wounds left. But if I get the turn, I could kill him. Easily in theory. But in practice, we know it's all but guaranteed. Or it's far from guaranteed.
Yes.
Yeah. So with that, we can just jump into priority. 2. 1. Finally gave it to me.
Round 5.
Yeah, so let's just quickly walk through it here.
Yep.
I'm just going to move this guy up onto the objective, just so you can't automatically teleport and take that one. You would have to take a charge. And I'll shoot both my catapults together. So I got 5 out of 6 hits. And I got 5 wounds, so this is the best we've done yet.
5 4-ups. I made 3.
So you take 10 damage so far.
So 5.
Again, this is going to be more damage than they've done the rest of the game combined.
And I saved 2 of those, so I take 8
8
killing
okay.
him.
So finish off the Ghoul King here. This is really all I could have done in my turn. I'll score 2 points again. So again, I'm only going to be behind 3. Unless Alex tries to, does the summon and tries to go for the objective. No reason not to. But at this point, the game's decided. I have my best chance at my auxiliary. Up to you whether you summon guys here to deny me. If again, you know what it is now, so there's no reason you wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could run these guys, or I could summon the ghouls.
Yeah, and you
teleport.
could potentially even try and take this objective also with your flares. So you could easily score minimum 2, giving you the win. Maximum 8 points if you manage to take both of those, which is not out of the realm of possibility. But a big win for Flesh Eaters today.
Yes, I don't think either one of us was expecting this out of the matchup after we played this the other day.
Yeah, the last one, it was nearly a complete tabling of Flesh Eater Courts.
Yeah, but we tied on victory points.
Partly just because of this mission. Realistically, I was playing with about 1,100 points today, having lost Catacross turn 1 before I did anything. And these things were really underwhelming until
turn 5.
Till turn 5, when I didn't need it because my Mortek could have finished it off.
Yeah.
So that was rather disappointing, but
I think from my point of view, the key to the game was putting Catacross on the line. Because I could run and charge turn 1, and you were out of range of unbinding that spell. I could fly up 19 inches, make a 4-inch charge into him, and that changed my game plan. Like, until then, I was going to play defensive again, just try and, outscore you, make a late game push to an objective with a teleporter or summon. And then once I saw him on the line, I'm like, I can kill him, and that's like half the army gone. And there's so much synergy with him, plus to save, plus attacks, plus to hit. Like, getting rid of him turn 1, I mean,
it weakens the whole army in a huge way. You just lose
all your RDP generation on top of it.
RDP generation, the tankiness of a 3-up save, +1 to hit on everything. It's hugely. Bringing 6 models back to turn. If I hadn't been doing that, I would have replenished those 4 models so quickly.
Yeah.
But again, that was a huge mistake on my part and a huge capitalization on yours. But that wasn't necessarily, from my perspective, that wasn't necessarily a tactical error. It was an error for sure. It was an error not knowing the output of my opponent and kind of my relative strength and tankiness in that regard. Again, I mentioned before, I'm like, okay, Catacross is near unkillable. I'm fine putting him on the line. I knew you were there. I was almost baiting you. But that's a great highlight, actually, of how important it is to know not only your army, but your opponent's army. So I came into this match with general assumptions of what my army and your army could do. Whereas, as you mentioned, you came in specifically prepared, knowing the output of your unit in that specific situation against Catacross before he gets the 2-up save, and knowing you can reliably get it 95% of the time. It's just, like, hugely, that obviously was in your favor, but just a great thing to highlight of how important it is to be prepared for events. If you want to compete at the highest level and have the best chance of winning events or placing well or just consistently performing event to event. I came with general knowledge and understanding of everything, but not specifically how I match up in different situations. Yeah. And it's hard to be prepared for everything, obviously, but just knowing general volumes of your own damage. If you know your output is, 20 wounds before your opponent's armor save, you can roughly calculate based on their armor save how much damage you're going to do, just as a quick example. So even if you don't know your opponent's specific units, just knowing their armor save helps with that, as well as, what after saves or ward saves are they going to have. But just a huge highlight of how important it is to be prepared, know your army in and out, and then the more knowledge you have of your opponent's army, the better position you're going to be in. Because if I was as prepared in this matchup, I wouldn't have put Catacross on the line, right? I put him out of the threat range, or I put a screen in front, making you go into the screen, able to hit. You just don't take turn 1.
Yeah, I would
completely changes the game. Whereas because of how prepared you were in this match, really let you take advantage of those small mistakes. And that's the difference of winning and losing in events. Any game really, but specifically talking about, competitive events, that is such an overlooked aspect. You can take the strongest army, but if you've only played 5 games with it, you're not going to be performing at the top of your ability. Whereas if you've practiced with
practiced and polished and know what you can do,
as well as practicing, obviously, the more you can practice against different matchups. Now this is the 2nd or 3rd game we've played against OBR, so starting to get a little more experience against them. But just again, knowing your army inside and out, really just let you capitalize on a mistake in positioning. On my behalf. As painful as it was, I think it's just a great thing to highlight while it's come up. Keys for the game from my perspective, deployment.
Yeah.
Otherwise, again, I think I really did the best I could under the circumstances. That was a huge mistake, no doubt.
Yeah, if you'd won a priority at any point,
turn 2 or turn 3,
you'd have had a chance still. Yeah.
Still had chances, still was in it, but was hugely disadvantaged from the start, no doubt, just with that play. And even you were willing to lose your dual cannon on Terrorgeist over it, but he still had, 3-4 more turns of combat, just really decimating my army. The Flayers, I don't think, ever went into combat.
No. Just the other 3 got into Arcan.
Arcan, but they didn't even get to hit.
No.
The only thing that did damage in this game was your dual cannon on Zombie Dragon.
Yeah. And people don't take the zombie dragon. The Ghoul King on Terrorgeist is like all you ever see, but he's got a mount trait from +1 rend, giving him 3 rend on the bite and 2 rend on the claws. Like, he's a sleeper pick.
Yeah, and especially his spell is amazing for the aura of rerolling wounds.
Yeah.
Such a good...
I didn't get it off a single time, but
potentially,
yeah.
No, he's a great pick and more supportive of the rest of your army. Not that you needed the rest of your army here, but
yeah,
it's really true. Like, literally, all your damage output was that one model. And again, if I had killed him round 1, huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because him surviving allowed me to throw down Chalice. I could use his Blood Feast to do 6 wounds to you and heal 5.
And healing D3 each turn also. Yeah, so you had him at one point back to only 1 wound on him.
Yeah.
Turn 3. So that was not good. Again, a little bit lucky with the way the dice went on my catapults and your armor saves. Statistically, should have been getting more damage out. So again, not killing him really hurt me. Had a chance, but didn't quite get there. Also didn't get my -1s to hit on him at any point from the terrain piece. I was just trying to mitigate his damage back, right? From the rerolling 6s to hit and save. Hope was trying to get the -1. That would have really helped me, as would have Catacross if he was still alive. But we'll wrap it up here. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone for watching. We always appreciate just your time and feedback in the comments as well. We should mention that subscribing and liking obviously helps the channel. About 50% of our viewers aren't subscribed to the channel, so any subscriptions obviously go a long way in terms of helping our growth and development, which just further will accelerate how we're able to improve the channel and all that stuff. So really appreciate all the support we've gotten. And an especially big thank you to our premium team, who really are the backbone of the channel, making everything possible. Choosing great matchups lately, actually. This is another good one, but I let them down here, unfortunately, so we'll have to get OCRX on the table again soon to try and redeem themselves. But that's it for today, so we'll see you again soon in another battle report.
Take care.